It's Snowbird season, which means, well, you might be seeking out warmer climates, but you might be having frozen and chilly and...
Hi there, I'm Cherie.
And I'm Chris.
And we run the Mobile Internet Resource Center. And every winter we seem to get the same crop of feedback from places around the country where people are complaining about slower speeds and disconnects with cellular data service.
They're going, my cellular used to be great, I was getting these incredible speeds, but all of a sudden lately, it's been awful, and what's going on? Are the carriers trying to do blah, blah, blah? Yeah, where are you at right now?
Usually the answer is, oh, I'm in Florida, I'm in Arizona, I'm in Southern California, or South Texas sometimes too.
The places that the snowbirds flock to from all over the country, a lot of RVers, a lot of cruisers converge into the same places, and so all that demand, instead of being spread out across the nation, is concentrated in those poor little cell towers. They start to melt down.
So a lot of these towns that we like to go to keep warm, because we have mobility, like Quartzsite, Yuma, Borrego Springs, Clearmont.
The Keys.
Yeah. These towns don't normally have this large of a population, and their cell towers aren't necessarily built with the capacity for the winter influx, because that's not needed all year round in those communities.
So people start to show up, and the network speeds just go down as the population keeps going up. And this has actually gotten worse over the years, because now more and more people have unlimited cellular plans, so they're expecting to be able to stream and do online backups and upload tons of photos. They're not paying attention to the usage as much anymore, which means the demand's way up, and the capacity has not increased to meet that demand.
Well, it has a little bit, but
yeah,
not much.
Not nearly at the same pace.
So what the carriers do, and this is why there's something called network management that the carriers have with most of the unlimited data plans that are out there. And that gives them ability to prioritize the network traffic. So those that don't have data that's subject to network management, they get the priority on the towers during these sorts of times. And if you have an unlimited plan or you've reached a certain amount of data in a month, then they say that they might slow you down during times of congestion temporarily.
Yeah, so in much of the country, those times of congestion might only last 5 or 10 or 15 seconds. They're really sporadic, and you barely will notice them in day-to-day use. But if you're down at Quartzsite in the winter, the time of congestion might be November through April, in the worst case. And the towers are basically always congested, and which means network management's always on play.
Especially January is kind of the peak season. This is kind of the period of time where everyone is in the South somewhere, and we're settling in for longer stays, we're enjoying the warmer temperatures, and we're using a lot more data these days. So we get these complaints a lot, and we're hearing a lot of them right now. In fact, you might be trying to watch this video and it's buffering where you're watching it from, and that's probably because you're in a congested area. Now, even if your data is not subject to network management, if you've got one of those plans, like you're paying tiered data, or you're paying by the gigabyte, or you have one of these rental plans that isn't subject to network management, that doesn't mean that you're not going to feel the impacts of congestion.
No.
You are going to have slower speeds when you're in a very populated area.
Yeah, the highway's in a traffic jam state. You might be in the carpool lane, but, you're only going slightly faster than the rest of the passengers stuck in the traffic.
There's only so much the carriers can do to spread out the limited capacity that they have. And we're all going to feel it when more of us are using a resource, especially in a local area.
So what are some of the signs? How do you know that you're on a congested tower?
Well, the first one is you're going to have slower speeds than you're used to. If we're in an area, like say maybe you were there in October and you're getting 20 megabit per second, and now you're here in January and you're getting
0.2.
That's a sure sign of a congested area. Another sign is run a speed test. Mm-hmm. If you see that the upload speeds are much higher than your download speeds, that's another sure sign. And the reason for that is download traffic.
Yeah, most of the demand on the network is people wanting to surf, to download, to watch videos, and the upload side of the channels tend to get underused unless you happen to be at a YouTuber convention. So the upload sides, if they're really fast and the download's really slow, that's a pretty good sign that the tower is sweating.
Now that will probably change over time. More of us are live casting. We're uploading large videos. We're doing cloud backups. We're doing two-way video conferencing calls. those use a lot of upload capacity, and as more people do that over cellular, that might not be as true. But still, if you're seeing download speeds much slower than your upload speeds, you're in a congested area.
And then also, if things are changing a lot by time of day, so if you get up at 4 in the morning and your network's really rocking and fast, and then, well, at 4 in the afternoon, or especially prime time, 7, 8, 9, when people are trying to stream a lot of video, if the speeds are slow in prime time and fast at 4 a.m., that's a sign of congestion.
Other symptoms, you might be kind of glitchy with your speeds. It might just seem like it's bouncing up and down quite a bit. If you've got connected devices like security cameras and home automation systems and things like that, and they might just start to show no internet connection.
Yeah.
That's because the network dropped during a time of congestion, and those devices might not be smart enough to reconnect. They might not be designed for a variable internet connection like we get with mobile. You might get buffering on videos. You might try to go to a website and it just feels sluggish to load. It's not responsive. You might get a page half loaded. You might not get graphics loading in. Those are all signs that your speeds are going really slow, and then you might get like a burst of fast and then goes back down to slow.
So short of like driving back to Canada or trying to get all your neighbors off the network, what are some of the things we can do to deal with like trying to stay connected in a place like a Quartzsite in the winter?
Quartzsite in the winter is hard. If you're in a really congested area, I mean, the best advice we can give is find a different location. If you have to get online, you have to get online, and that might be a choice you have to make. Is you might need to commute for your work days.
Yes.
You might need to go download videos on a better connection and then watch them later instead of streaming.
Get your work done overnight during the less congested times. We definitely know people who've done that in dealing with the major congested areas.
You can try rebooting your cellular device. When you toggle in and out of airplane mode or reboot your device, that forces your device and the tower to renegotiate the connection, and that might give you potential for at least a temporary period of faster speeds.
Yeah, they'll assign you to the least congested channel, and until that channel gets reloaded, you might be back in the fast lane for a bit. Some people think like, using a booster, I can overpower my neighbors or try to speed things up. But if congestion's the problem, a booster isn't really going to solve it, because it's not a weak signal that's often the problem. It's an overloaded tower. But a booster and an antenna can help you reach maybe a different tower that is further away.
You might change your signal conditions in such a way that the tower reassigns you to a less congested band that you can reach better. So it is worthwhile experimenting with any antennas and boosters you have on board. Directional antennas in particular can be really good for aiming to a further away tower that might be away from the peak population.
Now, speaking of less congested bands, more modern devices support more cellular bands, and that's basically giving you access to additional carpool lanes that older devices might not have access to. And we have seen this actually make a dramatic difference in some places where a modern device, if the tower has been upgraded, is vastly faster than just a year or two older hotspot. We actually witnessed this in Quartzsite several years ago.
And this is a time to try your backup plans.
Yeah.
You do have backup plans, right? You're not just relying on one. If you need internet, you need to have backup options. So you should pull out your plan that is not subject to network management. Try a plan on a different carrier. This is particularly a time when some of the less popular carriers like Sprint and T-Mobile, the ones that not as many RVers travel with, might actually be advantageous because they're going to have less congestion on them, just simply because there's less people using them.
We have seen that at RV rallies. It's one of the few times we've seen Sprint be the best choice in a particular area, is when all the other networks are overloaded with RVers and there's hardly any Sprint customers around.
All right, next option, invite all your neighbors over for happy hour or out for a hike. And then, well, they're not online watching Netflix. Let's hope they didn't leave it running for the pets, at least. You can go get your stuff done while you're serving them happy hour drinks. It's a win-win for everybody.
It's a win-win. Yeah, have fun with it. Enjoy being in the South and enjoy being a snowbird and enjoy not being snowed upon, even if it does have some of these pretty severe network consequences.
Yes, the only other option is to wait until spring when things thaw out, and as RVers and cruisers, we start to spread out more across our nation, and we're not all trying to get on the same towers. So if you're experiencing problems and it seems sudden in onset, it's probably what you're experiencing, unless you're up there where it's really cold.
In which case, your network might be getting faster and faster as everybody else leaves.
All right. I hope that helps. And see you in spring. These videos are brought to you by our premium members, our mobile internet aficionados. They make it possible for us to track this news and create these videos. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to our channel, or better yet, consider becoming a member yourself.